Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Variety Seekers. I'm Jessica Wood, and in today's short in-between-isode, I'm going to be talking about the best careers for variety seekers. I'll also be recording this episode on video, so if you'd like to check that out, head on over to homelife.com/career, or you can listen to this episode from iTunes or Stitcher. In last week's in-between-isode, I talked about how searching for your passion is pointless. And what I mean by this is that jumping around from career to career, considering your interests and then trying to find a career that matches, looking for something that's going to light that spark inside of you, it's not going to lead to finding your passion. In fact, it's going to keep you from finding your passion. Because what you're doing when you do those things is you're looking externally to fix an internal problem. And that internal problem is that you still don't know who you are. So just think about that for a second. If you knew more about your true self, who you are at your core, it wouldn't be so unclear to you what you want to do with your life. You'd have more direction. You'd have more certainty. So the answer is not out there. It's in here. It's in yourself. And to get to know who you are, you have to learn to be present. You have to get your anxiety under control, maybe meditate, go to therapy, find some kind of practice that helps you break through all of those layers that you've built up over the years and learn who you really are. Now, I'm not suggesting to just go sit on a cushion in the corner and meditate until you got it all figured out. I'm suggesting that you just change your mindset from thinking that the answer is out there, that it's something else, some career, some income, some lifestyle, to instead looking at who you are and what you really want in life. Now, there is one thing you already know about yourself. You are a variety seeker. So you listen to this podcast or you subscribe to Home Life because you identify with this concept of wanting to live an extraordinary life, with feeling like you're not cut out for the conventional, repetitive 9 to 5, and you want to have a greater variety of experiences. So somewhere inside of you that resonates. So now what careers are going to allow you to embrace those variety-seeking ways, learn who you are at your core, and not end up being a hobo? And the reason I say this is because I had a lady email me not too long ago. She wanted to tell her daughter to join our free Facebook group, the Variety Seeker Tribe, but she was nervous to tell her daughter because she thought that we would turn her daughter into a happy hobo. So yes, we encourage people to be happy, but we hope that we're not encouraging people to be hobos. We've just found that happy and hobo don't usually go together. They're not usually a hand-in-hand thing. So back to it. The number one career for variety seekers is one that you get to design yourself, where you are your own boss. You set your own hours, and you're allowed a lot of creative freedom and a lot of locational freedom. So in other words, being an entrepreneur. Specifically, an entrepreneur that has an online presence, so a website, a podcast maybe, a blog, social media. Now, I know this answer is broad and it might, kind of creep you out. Like the word entrepreneur is not so appealing to variety seekers. It's also very trendy, and if you're someone like me, I tend to reject trends off the bat until later I realize oh, that's actually a really great idea. Or maybe you're just thinking, I don't want to spend my life staring at a screen, or I actually want to make money, or I don't think I have the discipline to run my own business. Well, I'm going to address all of these things, but first I want to say why being an entrepreneur is the best job for variety seekers. So in my career with being the co-founder of Home Life, here are just some of my duties. So writing. I get to write all the time for the blog. I get to write emails. I'm going to be writing a book next year, designing logos. So who would have thought I get to design logos for our podcast, for our website, photography. I just started creating animated videos, which is awesome. And you can check out my first animated video on homelife.com. It's right on the homepage. Also talking about things that I really like and that I find important. I get to do that each week on the podcast. That's pretty incredible. And I get to do all of this from anywhere in the world. So I can do it from my house in St. Louis. I can do it from a coffee shop. I've done this from Italy. I'm getting ready to move to New York City in a few months, so I'll be doing it from there. And the reason I'm telling you all of these things is to show you how much variety you can have by being an entrepreneur. The opportunities to be creative are seriously endless. And one of the best parts is that everything I learn and do helps me progress to the next level. So I'm learning to make animated videos one month, I'm focusing on photography the next, and even though it's two different skills, they both help me and my business progress. And that's something you don't get with a regular 9 to 5. So you can have hobbies or side gig, but it's hard to really tie them together. And that's when people begin to feel lost, or they feel like work is separate from home life, and it just feels like they're not complete, they're not fulfilled, and sometimes they might learn to hate their jobs then, or they might want to give up their hobbies because what's the point? It's not making a difference, it's not going to help me pay my bills, so why am I doing all these things? So the thing is, with being an entrepreneur, all of it, everything helps you grow, and all of it gets used. So it's like dabbling with a purpose. Even the stuff that you don't think would help your business progress, like for me, I like to travel, I like to read. I recently did that podcast episode about my isolation tank experience. Tonight, me and my boyfriend are starting our first dance class. And even those, they don't seem to at all be related to what we do with home life. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're your brand. And you have this audience and this platform for sharing your experiences and your interest and connecting with others. So I get to talk about the books that I read and my travel experiences, and I'll be talking about this dance class, I'm sure, in podcast and in our Facebook group and with our Instagram followers. And so all of it helps people relate to what we do at home life, and it also keeps me motivated to keep growing and learning and getting out there. And to me, that's absolutely one of the best parts about being an entrepreneur. In order to really succeed and be fulfilled by this, you have to learn who you are at your core. The whole process of starting a business is really doing just that. You have to sit with yourself and ask yourself, what do I really care about? And how do I want to bring it and communicate it to the world? And the whole thing is a learning and growing process that's going to get you way out of your comfort zone and doing things that you never thought you were capable of doing. So, for instance, a year ago, I would have never gotten this close to a microphone. I was way too self-conscious. And now, not only am I doing a podcast, I'm also recording it on video, and I'm topless. So that's homelife.com/career. No, but seriously, when you run your own business, you have to get out of your comfort zone or you fail. So it's the perfect career for learning and growing. Now, I think the word entrepreneur, it just scares people off. It just sounds too businessy. But in today's world, you can be a multitude of different professions and operate under the mindset of an entrepreneur. So you can be an artist, a baker, a photographer, an educator, a craftsman, a designer, a yoga teacher. You can be any of these things or a combination of these things and turn it into a virtual brand that makes you money. And those of you who might be thinking like, get to the next career, this one isn't for me. So maybe you're thinking you're not cut out to run your own business. Well, I think that you're probably selling yourself short, so I just want to put that out there. But maybe you just don't want to run your own business. Then the next best job would be working for an entrepreneur. So working for a startup or for someone with really innovative ideas where your position can grow and you have a lot of variety and you're open to creativity. So back to being an entrepreneur, I know that you're probably wondering about money. You're thinking it takes too much money to even start your own business and then it might not pay off. Well, it doesn't have to be as costly as you might think. It's very, very easy these days. And you might also be thinking, great, I'd love to start being an entrepreneur. How do I choose my direction? How do I find the product I want to sell? What's my story going to be about? Well, we'll be talking more about these things in next week's In Between Episode of Variety Seekers. In the meantime, if you want to learn more about the types of online businesses other variety seekers are creating and running, then go to Facebook and search for the Variety Seeker Tribe. So it's a free community of variety seekers, and many of us own our own businesses, and we give each other feedback all the time. You know, some people post their new logo designs to the tribe, and then we vote on which one we like the best. You know, we talk about everything from work-life balance to just initial concepts of businesses. So search for Variety Seeker Tribe in Facebook, and I'll hope to see you there. And I will talk to you more about this topic in next week's In Between episode of Variety Seekers. Talk to you then.